Welcome to the Pregnancy Health News Brief for January 2026. I'm Lisa Bourne, Managing Editor of Pregnancy Health News. Here is a look at some of this month's top stories. A Kentucky woman was accused of burying her baby after having a chemical abortion. Why did Trump's HHS give tens of millions in funding back to Planned Parenthood? Heartbeat International responded to a U.S. Senate hearing saying how abortion pills pose profound harms for women. One of the pioneers of abortion pill reversal has contributed to a book on the life-saving protocol. Chemical abortion, coerced abortion, and abortion pill reversal were discussed at a Capitol Hill briefing and on national broadcast television as the March for Life kicked off. Now let's take a closer look at this month's top stories. A Kentucky mother was arrested and jailed after police said she admitted to killing her baby through a chemical abortion before burying the baby in her backyard. Kentucky state law protects unborn children from abortion with few exceptions, for instance, in cases where the life of the mother is at stake. The Campton, Kentucky mother allegedly visited a nearby health clinic and told the staff she aborted the baby at her home, according to a Kentucky State Police spokesman. Police said the healthcare clinic called them and officers questioned the woman. She allegedly told the detectives she'd ordered abortifacients online and taken the medication, resulting in a chemical abortion at home. She said her actions resulted in the death of a developed male infant, police said. She further told police that she buried the baby in a shallow grave on the backside of her property, and investigators found the grave. Police didn't detail the gestational age of the aborted baby. Police charged the mother with first-degree fetal homicide, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with physical evidence. She was incarcerated in the Three Forks Regional Jail in Beattyville, Kentucky. Some pro-life advocates were angered after the Trump administration restored family planning funding to Planned Parenthood, but other pro-life voices have said there's more to the move than meets the eye. Politico reported that the American Civil Liberties Union dropped its lawsuit against the administration after the Department of Health and Human Services quietly released tens of millions in Title X family planning funds to Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers. The move prompted widespread frustration with pro-life conservatives. The ACLU, along with the National Family Planning and Reproductive Health Association, had sued the administration over what they called unlawful withholding of more than $65 million in Title X grants to clinics. But HHS may have had no choice but to restore the funding, some have said. The agency withheld the funds before amending 42 U.S. Code Part 300, a rule which governs family planning grants. Because of this, HHS was at risk of losing the lawsuit, plus having to repay the full amount plus interest and cover attorney's fees, the speculation is. Additionally, continued litigation would have ensnared any future funding cuts, which are highly likely under the new regulations, in prolonged court battles before an unsympathetic judge. A former senior Trump administration official said the administration will now be in a better position to defund Planned Parenthood. President Donald Trump and Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. later said they were unaware of the recent restoration of the Title X funds to Planned Parenthood. But administration sources have attempted to reassure pro-lifers that alternative means of cutting off the funding are in the works. Chemical abortion drugs were the subject of a U.S. Senate committee hearing as pro-life and pregnancy health advocates continue to press the federal government to reinstate safety standards for the drugs, and abortion proponents push for less oversight. Heartbeat International weighed in saying the hearing exposed that chemical abortion harms women. The briefing established what we already know, Heartbeat President Jarrell Godsey said. Women across our country face profound harms from the use and coercive abuse of chemical abortion drugs. The Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, or HELP, conducted the hearing titled Protecting Women, Exposing the Dangers of Chemical Abortion Drugs on January 14th. Safety issues have surrounded chemical abortion drugs since the approval of mifepristone in 2000. The concern intensified with the rollback of some of the safety protocols with the drug. The January 14th Senate HELP Committee hearing was led by Chairman Bill Cassidy, a Republican from Louisiana, and included testimony from 3 witnesses, Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill and Monique Wilbenhorst, MD, an OBGYN and senior research associate with the Notre Dame Center for Ethics and Culture, and Nisha Varma, MD, a fellow with abortion-affirming Physicians for Reproductive Health. Murrill testified on the dangers of mail-order abortion drugs and shared real-life stories of women and girls coerced or drugged with the abortion pill in her state. Wilbenhorst suggested that the Department of Justice should enforce the Comstock Act in regard to chemical pills. Verma gave testimony that mifepristone was safe and effective. Senators on the committee each had a turn to question witnesses and share their own point of view on the topic. Cassidy argued that there were no safeguards against coercion and that current practices such as mailing the medication were below the standard of care. Senator Roger Marshall, a Republican from Kansas and an OBGYN, affirmed the need for ultrasound care while dispensing abortion drugs. Senator John Husted, a Republican from Ohio, offered his own experience going through foster care and adoption and shared how his father had pressured his mother to abort him. He indicated his concern over how the new widespread dispensing of chemical abortion drugs would likely make those stories of coercion much more common. Godsey commented further that the Pregnancy Help Network had direct knowledge of the harm possible with chemical abortion drugs and that the concerns about chemical abortion drugs do not stem from so-called discomfort with abortion, but from a steadfast commitment to providing women, families, and unborn children with the dignity, compassion, and scientifically supported care they deserve. The physician who performed the first confirmed successful abortion pill reversal has shared his story with pioneering APR as part of a new book on the treatment that has saved thousands of lives. Dr. Matthew Harrison contributed a chapter to Dr. George Delgado's new book, Abortion Pill Reversal, Second Chance at Choice, telling the story of the first documented reversal of chemical abortion drugs. Harrison, an MD, is a hospitalist who serves in several hospitals in the Charlotte and Western North Carolina areas. He supervises a nurse practitioner at an area college student health clinic, is an adjunct clinical professor for an osteopath medical school, and serves as president of his local Catholic Medical Association chapter. Harrison is an APR provider and medical director for a few pregnancy help centers where APR is offered as well. He also gives talks at various conferences and has testified before legislatures in several states on informed consent laws for using abortion pill reversal. Harrison said he loves this area of his work because it is a positive thing that we can do towards helping women. It is very rewarding to see these children and the mothers succeed over time, he said. Abortion Pill Reversal, A Second Chance at Choice is available through Ignatius Press and through Amazon. U.S. House staff heard powerful testimony on coerced chemical abortion and learned about pregnancy help, abortion pill reversal, and the challenges faced by both at a joint congressional staff briefing this past week during the March for Life. The Senate Pro-Life Caucus hosted A Second Chance at Choice, Heartbeat International on the hope offered through abortion pill reversal, with Heartbeat International experts presenting the growing negative impact of chemical abortion in the United States and the documented hope offered through abortion pill reversal. At the briefing, Heartbeat International hosted Catherine Presley Herring, who provided an account of her harrowing experience of being poisoned by chemical abortion drugs by her husband for the congressional staffers, followed by her hope-filled story of reversing the chemical abortion drugs with APR progesterone treatment. Heartbeat International President Jarrell Godsey gave an overview of how pregnancy help organizations serve, Heartbeat's role as a network, and the common misconceptions about pregnancy help, which are set straight by the PregnancyCenterTruth.com website. Heartbeat International Senior Director of Medical Impact, Krista Brown, who oversees the Abortion Pill Rescue Network and is a former pregnancy center director, explained that most women who start an abortion are under some level of duress, and she detailed how easily chemical abortion pills can be obtained, whether or not one is pregnant or even female. Brown proceeded to note the different ways this opens the door for abusive women and the risks to women undergoing chemical abortion without medical oversight. Heartbeat International Vice President of Communications and Marketing, Andrea Trudden, ran down different attacks from activist groups and suppression efforts by big tech. The Heartbeat team in Herring held various other meetings on Capitol Hill during March for Life Week, sharing Herring's story and educating on APR and pregnancy help. Pregnancy help and abortion pill reversal were front and center on broadcast television as EWTN host Teresa Tomeo welcomed Heartbeat International's Andrea Trudden on air leading up to the March for Life. The conversation held on site at the March rally also touched on the rising problem of chemical abortion and its paving the way for abusive women, as Trudden was joined in the discussion by a survivor of chemical abortion poisoning, Catherine Presley Herring. Tomeo introduced the segment describing Heartbeat International as heroes, saying the interview was very special for her owing to her history with Heartbeat, having spoken and performed media trainings at Heartbeat's annual Pregnancy Help Conference. Tomeo mused that many individuals among the March for Life crowd would likely have association with Heartbeat through connections to pregnancy help, and asked about Heartbeat's witness to life during March for Life week. Trudden explained that Heartbeat had the opportunity to meet with different congressional offices and share about pregnancy help and the advancements over this past year, along with connecting with pro-life partners in town for the march. Trudden told Tomeo that last year alone, more than 2 million women and men contacted Heartbeat's option line to connect with pregnancy centers. That's 5 times the year before. Trudden noted there have been good things accomplished by the Trump administration that have been helpful for the pregnancy help movement, expressing that there was desire for more, and so Heartbeat team members were making use of time in the nation's capital to advocate for that. Herring, who speaks out on behalf of domestic abuse victims and against coerced abortion and for the need for chemical abortion safety regulation review, shared her story for the EWTN audience. Tomeo said it is amazing how much Heartbeat has grown, asking how many pregnancy centers there are in the country now. Trudden said that Heartbeat had just eclipsed 4,000 affiliates worldwide, with approximately 2,200 of them in the United States, including maternity homes and nonprofit adoption agencies. The number of pregnancy centers in the U.S. affiliated with Heartbeat and not is about 3,000, Trudden said. That's the news for this episode of the Pregnancy Help News Brief. All of these stories and more are available to you 24/7 at PregnancyHelpNews.com. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Pregnancy Help News Brief on the Pregnancy Help Podcast. I'm Lisa Bourne. Subscribe to receive updates on future episodes.